And the purpose of this presentation, everyone, is really just to give you a taste and you know, some ideas to think about in, you know, the next 15 or so minutes. We're not going to have time to get into every single one of these 10 ways you can claim expert status, but just enough for you to think about how you might be able to use one or more of these ideas for you to be able to grow your business. The mini presentation is 10 ways to claim expert status, and believe me, you do want to do that. And let me start by saying that you know, our motto is that we certify, we connect, and we champion women in business. And in the spirit of connecting and championing women in business, we communicate a lot with our corporate partners and our sponsors. And time again, they tell us that the best way to get noticed by them is to set yourself apart, right? To do something that's unique, to offer some kind of a unique solution. And so some of these tips that I'm going to share come mostly from them. They want to know what you're doing and work these into your pitch. And again, you can contact us directly if you want more resources and information about these tips, or even if you just want to have a conversation about them. We're always, all 4 of us, 5 of us on the phone here, are happy to help you in any way that we can. Okay, so Steph, if you'll go to the first slide. So this is just like an overview of the 10 steps. So 1 is acceptance, 2, uniqueness, 3 is white papers. Go ahead to the next. 4th is writing a book. 5 is speaking. Number 6 is being a guest columnist. Number 7 is HARO, stands for help a reporter out. We'll talk about how you can do that. Number 8, industry groups. Number 9, what you're doing in your community. And then number 10 is, you know, working with your local college. So go ahead and flip. There you go. So acceptance, you really have much more experience than you think, right? You can kind of gauge ways to show your experience and to trust yourself by just considering how long have you been doing what you do. Okay, and it's not necessarily how long have you been in the particular business that you have, especially if you just started the business, but you bring with you years of experience and connections when you're talking about your business. So talk about that. Talk about your years of experience. Talk about the way that you got into what it is you're doing, right? And Simon Sinek has a great book that I love to refer to everybody called Start With Why. And take a look at the book. You don't have to read the whole thing. He's got a great audio version of the book and tons of TED Talks and interviews that he's done. But really, it's all about trusting yourself and your passion, right? You started the business for a particular reason. Work that into your pitch. And then I have a note here on assessments. I'm a big believer in assessments. So I've done Strengths Finders a couple of different times. There's another one called Wealth Dynamics. There are all kinds of assessments that you can take that will help you to really realize how you handle experience, right? And how you can highlight what it is you do, what you're good at, what you're best at, and then what you're better than most people at. So use that to inform how you're going to claim expert status. Okay, so the next slide is your uniqueness. Can you claim to be the first or the only? And I want you in this instance to think about, are you the first person in your area? So are you the first person in Orlando to do XYZ? Or are you the first person in Tampa Bay to do XYZ? Think locally, regionally, and nationally. And then be consistent with your branding and your bragging. Okay, so I'm going to really invite all of you to ignore that advice that your mom had told you years and years ago to stop bragging and that it's not all about you. brag. Men in business brag all the time. Women in business, we tend to shy away from saying, I've gotten this award, I've done this, I have this certification, I've got 25 years of experience. For whatever reason, we tend to shy away. And our corporate partners have told us they need to know that. They want to know that they're dealing with award-winning entrepreneurs. And speaking of which, you should apply for awards. There's nothing wrong with you self-nominating yourself. And if you're shy about that, contact one of us and we will nominate you. Give us the information that you're applying for, and we're happy to help you along that process. But you really should not be shy about nominating yourself for awards. Okay, tip number 3, writing a white paper. So I have had some very successful business owners come up with processes, and they turn that into a white paper, and that really sets you apart as a business owner. Because as you're meeting in a matchmaking situation, if you have a white paper, if you've got a process that you can share step by step, right? So you could, for example, explain your process by saying, I have a 5-step process that helps you lower costs. Then you just go into the different 5 steps, right? Or you could say, I have a 3-step process that helps you evaluate, educate, and engage your leadership team. The numbers 3, 5, 7, and 10, psychologically, there's something about those numbers we remember, we pay attention when we hear those kinds of numbers. And so come up with a process, right? Come up with a program that you can talk about and put it together in some kind of a white paper, quote unquote, format. And keep in mind that your white paper does not have to be hundreds of pages long. As a matter of fact, probably 5 pages, 3 pages, maybe tops 5 pages, because between you and me, most people won't read beyond that. Okay, so everyone on this call should be able to come up with some kind of a process and flesh that out into a kind of a white paper. All right, so tip number 4, writing a book. So that's, one step beyond the white paper is writing a book. And I am happy to brag, to inform you all that I have already published a book called The Decision to Scale, 25 Tips for Women-Owned Businesses Looking to Grow Their Business. And what did I just say? 25 tips. So when I was putting this book together, we thought, okay, should we put it in book form or can we just do tips? And it was actually my son who gave me the idea to just call it 25 tips, and each chapter is a tip. Okay, so I think that most people listening in on this call can probably come up with some kind of a book that's similar to that, right? Our next book is going to be geared towards women in corporate America or who are employees at this point and are looking to start their own business. So that book is going to be called The Decision to Start, 25 Tips for Women Looking to Start Their Business. So I hope you're seeing the theme here. It doesn't have to be hundreds of pages. It doesn't have to be really difficult, but you can probably very easily put together a book. Consider a how-to book, consider a collection of interviews. You can reach out and interview women-owned businesses in your area. You can reach out and interview the top business owners in your area. They will be flattered to hear from you and to know that you're doing a collection of interviews in which they will be featured. The book doesn't necessarily have to be only about what you're doing, but it can be about, highlighting you as a resource and as a connector. And then finally, use a ghostwriter. We've got a really good ghostwriter that we know and love. So if you're interested, contact us and we'll give you her information. Okay, tip number 5 is become a speaker. So a lot of people are really anxious and nervous about public speaking. As a matter of fact, you probably know the statistic that say that most people are more afraid of speaking than they are of dying, right? So it's just one of those things, the more you practice, the better. Your local Toastmasters is an incredible place to start. And generally, your local Toastmasters meets once a week, either during the day or in the evening. And you can just type in Toastmasters in your area, and you'll probably find a couple of chapters to join. The benefit of Toastmasters is that they are all like you, wanting to become better speakers. So all like you, they're looking for support, they're looking for encouragement. Nobody's going to laugh at you. Nobody's going to, you know, say that you have no right becoming a speaker, because they all started out just like you, right? And it's a really great way to start in your speaking journey. The National Speakers Association is a couple of levels up. Once you become a speaker and you want to get accreditation, you can do that through your National Speakers Association. And there are Florida Speakers Associations chapters all over the state, so you can just look into those and get involved there. And then finally, reach out to your chambers of commerce and your industry groups. They're always looking for speakers for their lunch and learns, for their small events, for their different groups. So, once you become more comfortable with speaking, that's also a really good way to reach out and promote your business. Okay, so tip number 6 is all about being a guest columnist. So your local magazines, industry publications are always looking for guest columnists. And you can just kind of apply and say, I am a business owner, I've got this expertise, and I've done research on your magazine, and I think that your readers would like to hear from me as an expert on ABC topic, and then just offer to become a guest columnist. Magazines and journals are always looking for interesting topics and interesting things to offer their readers. And you can also offer to interview local business people as a way to set yourself apart. And Steph McPhee, our very own Steph McPhee, has done that quite successfully. For, I think it was her local chamber of commerce, she became the woman around town, so to speak, going to different businesses and interviewing the owners and asking them about their business, how they got started, why they're doing what they're doing, how they do it. And I think they were maybe 5 or 10-minute interviews that she did. But imagine how she became an incredible resource and a go-to person, because she now has this group of business owners that she knows a lot about, right? So that's something that you can do as well. Let's go to tip number 7. Let's see. Oh, HARO. That's the acronym for Help a Reporter Out. And you can just go to haro.com and you can sign up as a reporter or as a resource. And reporters are always looking for experts. I get calls very often, what's it like for women-owned businesses during the time of the pandemic? Or, how would you suggest that small businesses prepare for hurricanes? Is it a good time to start a business? So they're always asking for questions about business owners, and sometimes it's very technical questions too. So when you sign up for Help a Reporter Out, you can let them know what your expertise is, and then be prepared to answer quickly, okay? Because they are often working on a deadline. So they're not going to keep reaching out to you. If you get a call or an email, be sure to be quick about what it is you're going to say. Reply quickly. Maybe do some background work, right? Get your statistics all in order before you make the call. Get your stories that you're going to share, the experience you're going to share, get that all kind of outlined before you make that call so that you sound great, have some quotes at the ready, right? And then the more you do this, the better, because you'll be known as the expert in your area. You'll be quoted, and you'll get even more opportunities. All right, so tip number 8 is your local industry group. So sometimes we get very caught up in our own industry, right? And in our own services and products. And I'm going to invite that you look at ancillary industries, right? So if you're in construction and you belong already to construction groups, how about landscaping groups, or how about janitorial groups, right? So the more you know, again, it's all about being a resource. The more you know about what's going on within your industry and the ancillary industries to your industry, the better and more well-rounded you are as a resource. Also, I suggest that you go where your clients go, right? So if you've got corporations as clients and you're dealing, for example, with the supplier diversity programs within these corporations, there are industry groups that they go to. There's this, I can't remember, it's the ISM, the Institute of Supplier Management group, and they get extra training on supplier diversity and supply chain management and all. And if you can join those groups, then you become, again, this greater resource to your clients. All right, so slide number 9, or tip number 9, has to do with community groups, right? People do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. The more you're involved in your community, the more you stand out. It starts locally and it grows nationally and globally, right? Remember that old saying that says, think locally, or act locally and think globally, or I can't remember if it's the other way around, but you get the point. Start locally, right? The important thing is show your community that you are vested, you're invested in the growth of your community. Show your employees that you're really interested in the groups they participate in the things that are important to them. And that's how you're going to set yourself apart. Most corporate representatives in large corporations, they're really good corporate citizens, and they encourage their employees to participate in these community groups. That's where you're going to get to know people, and once you get to know people, they become they begin to recognize you, they begin to like you, and they trust you, and then your name is top of mind when it comes to a potential opportunity. Right, and then finally, tip number 10 is your local college. So, you know, I think in all communities, there's a college or a university, and they're always looking for adjunct professors, or the professors that are on staff are always looking for business owners and mentors. So set yourself up as, if you can, become an adjunct professor. And it kind of keeps you at the cutting edge of what's going on, right? Because if you've got to put a curriculum together for a classroom of college students, generally in their 20s, early 20s, then you need to really be on top of your game. And that research is going to inform how you might start thinking differently about your own business. So I always suggest that you look to your local college and university as not only a resource, but as a way of giving back. And if you happen to live in the same community of your alma mater, they are going to be really thrilled that you contact them and say, I'm a local business person, I do XYZ, and I would love to share my knowledge with your students as a guest lecturer or as an adjunct professor. Okay, so next let's do just a basic recap of the 10 ways to claim expert status. accept and trust yourself that you have more knowledge and experience than you probably think. Your uniqueness, highlight what is it about you that sets you apart from the competition. Don't forget to write some white papers. They don't have to be hundreds of pages long. Outline a process that you're doing. Number 4 is writing a book, right? And remember, you don't have to write the next Pulitzer Prize winning book. You can write a book that just sets you up as an expert, and you give it out when you're speaking. You send it to potential clients. Number 5 is speaking opportunities. Really take advantage of speaking opportunities. If you don't want to be a keynote speaker, at least get your pitch right? So your pitch is, 90 seconds to 3 minutes long. That is really going to set you apart and give you tons and tons of business opportunities. Number 6 is offer yourself up as a guest columnist. Show off your expertise that way. Number 7, Number 7, help a reporter out. Go on and sign up at haro.org. Number 8 is look at your industry groups. What is it what are the ancillary industries or operations that you can take advantage of? Number 9, show off your community spirit. Become involved in your community. And then finally, number 10, offer yourself up as an adjunct professor or as a guest lecturer at your local college. All right, so those are the tips. Now, I haven't been able to see whether or not we've had any questions because I don't have the chat up, but we're happy to answer any questions. Let's see. Oh, somebody says that Toastmasters is amazing, so I'm glad to confirm that. Yes, it is a really great organization. And then someone says, as a former and sometimes current business journalist, I can vouch for the usefulness of HARO for reporters. Always respond quickly to queries, though. Most reporters are on tight deadlines. Yeah, we did highlight that. Okay, and then someone, I guess, is, she's offering to help you with white papers, books, and guest columnists. So good, check this person out.
Nancy, could I have you talk a little bit, because this was a big thing when I started working with you on LinkedIn and how you use that article feature. You've been publishing on LinkedIn for a while, but how I think that has really helped you build a following as well.
Right. So LinkedIn, I think is probably one of the best things we have done, right? And the thing with LinkedIn is you have to be consistent with it. And I've seen more and more people start even doing short videos on LinkedIn. So that's something we're going to start looking into. But the consistency, the book that I was talking about that we've published, the 25 Tips book, that really started out because someone read my Tuesday toolbox. So for years, every Tuesday, we would publish a business development tool. And really, it was a blog. It was, 250 to 300 words. And we had a monthly theme. And every week, I would write a little bit, about the monthly theme. And there was really no pressure for me personally because it was just a blog that I was putting up on LinkedIn. Then I got contacted by someone who said, wow, these are incredible. You should turn these into a book. And I thought, that was like the furthest thing from my mind as I was doing the Tuesday Toolbox series. So I hired an editor, and she looked at all of them and she said, you have 3 books, maybe 4 books here. And so that started the process. And truthfully, had I started out writing a book, I would still be on, the introduction of this book. But I am now, over the course of the next year, going to be publishing 3 more books because I was consistent with these blogs. So you can use LinkedIn as a really great way to establish something that you're going to do consistently that is going to eventually turn into something you can put together into a book. You can use LinkedIn to set yourself apart as well by commenting on other people's blogs and position papers, right? So if you are looking to do business with a corporation, by all means, join that group, follow them, and comment on the articles that they put out. You don't have to do more than say, what a great article. These are the top 3 things I got out of this article, and I'm going to be sharing it with my contacts. Do that enough times, you will eventually get flagged by them and get noticed. So yes, by all means, use LinkedIn as a really great way to set yourself apart.
Thank you. I also, if you don't mind me adding, I think, you mentioned this about the organization. So feel free if you have, I mean, obviously we're busy, but do something in organization that relates back to your business. So for me, Nancy knows this, a lot of people do, like with the chamber and every organization, I'm on a board of something, I always sign up to do their communications and social media and video, anything like that, because that's my business. And they will jump at the opportunity, but to Nancy's point, then that can turn into, who knows what, and then everybody gets to know you. But it's a really a win-win. Signing up to say, hey, I offer this service. Can I do that as part? And it's amazing too, how you can get very creative with depending on what your service is, offering that to the local chambers. So for example, the ghostwriter, if you're trying to get more words out, offering to write an article for them, for the president of the chamber once a week or whatever. And then, they'll be happy to promote that you actually help do that to other members of the chamber. So Nancy is just a wealth of information. So I put a link up in there to, we have a new webpage that has all of our contact details on it. It's going to be at the bottom of every email going forward. So if you ever want to email any of us and set up a time to chat, we are all, that's one of our favorite things, I think, right, everybody? It's one of our favorite things to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and if you need more information on any of the tips, reach out to us as well, because we've got lots of resources that we can share with you.
You guys brought up something else, and that is getting involved. So when you get involved in the community, don't just go to things. Try to get involved in actually the leadership of that, because that does establish you as a business, as a leader in your business. So, and I know I'm probably preaching to the choir. I'm sure most of the people on this call have been on boards before, but it really does make a difference. And you're not just being on a board just to be on a board. You're actually picking up new skills. So, with my business and writing, marketing, and all those kinds of things, I've picked up skills in programs, in creating events. So now I can create really big events without being intimidated. I started off really small, creating local tiny community events. Now I can do global events, and it's just a way to build those skills. So again, with things like Toastmasters, in addition to speaking at places like that where you are speaking for practice, once you're involved in an organization where you're in the leadership, you are going to have to give presentations, things like that, in front of an audience. So it's a great way to develop your skills and your expertise all at the same time.
Yeah, and I've gotten a lot of speaking opportunities by just contacting our local partner organizations and saying, if you need a speaker at the last minute because somebody got sick, because there's a conflict, here are the topics I can speak on. And I've gotten several calls, kind of the day before, Nancy, can you help us out because so-and-so can't make the meeting? And that's a really great way to show off your talent and to provide a service. And then they will inevitably say, Nancy came in at the last minute to help us out. And that really sets you apart as someone that who can be counted on to help out. So don't hesitate to contact your local chambers or your local women's groups and say, I'm local and I'm available if you ever need me, need someone at the last minute, I'm available, and then list out 2, 3, 4 topics that you can speak on.
And we just really want to encourage all of you guys to continue to do what you do for your pivoting, your transitioning, everything you're doing. You amaze us every day. We think you are awesome at how you are winning out there, and just continue to know we are here to support you every day. So have a fabulous week, our friends. We will talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.